Coming up on Network Africa, Sudan's army recaptures the presidential palace in Khartoum as the battle continues for more territories. Tunisian President Kais Saied dismisses the Prime Minister amid political tensions in the country. Plus, celebrating the World Water Day 2025 with the theme Glacier Preservation, it's focusing on the critical role of glaciers in sustaining life and the water cycle. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. Sudan's army says it has recaptured the presidential palace in the capital Khartoum from the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF after a fierce battle. Military spokesperson Nabil Abdallah announced the victory on state television, stating that the army had taken control of key government buildings in central Khartoum. This is coming after 2 years of intense fighting. Pictures on social media showed jubilant soldiers waving their weapons, cheering and kneeling in prayer, celebrating what analysts say could be a turning point in the conflict. The army appears poised to regain control of the capital 2 years after it was kicked out by its paramilitary rivals known as the RSF. In recent weeks, the army has stepped up its campaign against the rival Rapid Support Forces in the city, which it lost at the start of the war in 2023. Reclaiming Khartoum would be a huge victory for the army and a pivotal moment in the conflict. However, the RSF still controls large parts of the country, including much of the western region. According to the UN, the 2-year civil war has caused the world's largest humanitarian crisis. In North Africa, Tunisian President Kais Saied has dismissed his Prime Minister Kamel Madouri in the early hours of Friday. According to a statement from the presidency, Madouri, who was appointed in August 2024 during a major government reshuffle, has been replaced with Sarah Zenzri, the Minister of Equipment, while the rest of the government remains unchanged. No official explanation has been given for Madouri's removal, but this marks the 4th time since President Saied's power grab in the summer of 2021 that a prime minister has been dismissed without warning. The president has now charged the new Prime Minister Zafrani to better coordinate governmental work and address obstacles to meet the expectations of the Tunisian people. In recent weeks, the president had publicly expressed his frustration, urging ministers to take decisive action. Well, the 62-year-old, who speaks Arabic, French, English and German, becomes the second leader now to lead Tunisia's government, following Najla Bouden, who served as prime minister from October 2021 to August 2023. Well, speaking of female leaders in Africa, Namibia has sworn in its first female president, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. This is after she won elections last year, that is extending the ruling party's SWAPO 35-year rule. The 72-year-old president is one of the few women leaders in the region after her inauguration that was attended by heads of states of neighboring countries, including Angola and South Africa. Previously the vice president, she is a stalwart of the Southwest Africa's People's Organization, SWAPO, that led the sparsely populated country to independence from apartheid South Africa back in 1990. Well, the inauguration of the new president coincides with the country's 35th independence anniversary. The Foreign Minister of Ghana, Samuel Ablakwa, is urging world leaders, to get their priorities right and stop wasting resources on what he calls building killing machines for Ukraine. He was speaking in New Delhi, India, condemning the millions of dollars spent on the war, which he says can be used to solve the lack of electricity, hospitals, potable water, and childhood vaccines.
Too much money is going into war. When people are starving, people are dying, Babies are dying, pregnant women are dying, when they shouldn't be dying. Over $380 billion so far sunk in the Ukraine war, and it continues in the Middle East. I mean, what's all of this fixation on war, spending on the military-industrial complex, when we can use that to solve homelessness, to solve the lack of electricity, to solve the lack of hospitals, the lack of potable water, the lack of childhood vaccines? The global leaders must get our priorities right, and we must stop shifting resources away from human development, using it to build killing machines.
Mr. Ablakwa also touched on India-Africa relations, saying the approach of the continent and the country is largely aligned, expressing optimism for even closer collaboration across various sectors.
There's a certain consciousness that we need to come together. The global order is changing. It's now a multipolar world, and we have to build new alliances. And we need to really move away from isolationism, from inward approaches, transactional approaches. That doesn't help. We need a multilateral, all hands on deck, a concerted effort to deal with the real issues. The real issues: disease, poverty, lack of infrastructure, lack of hospitals. Those are the real issues. It's not about, we should not be fighting each other. I mean, let's unite, let's come together, and let's build a fair and just and prosperous world for our people. And that is the commonality which I see when I engage Indian officials. And I think that the world will be better for it. We've just launched the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, a market of 1.4 billion Africans. And we want to trade more amongst ourselves. We want to have more South-South cooperation. And we believe that the next frontier is Africa. The youngest population, bright, talented young people who are ready to take on the world, who want to focus on the things that matter, on justice, on human rights, on protecting the vulnerable, making sure that resources are spent in human development, not in building war machines. And I think that really, that at the end of the day, is what's going to win the argument. I believe posterity will look back at this era. And just as our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, he cautioned many years ago in the 1950s, 1960s, let's stop this, arms race, let us stop the wars. And he was the founder of the non-aligned movement, interestingly, with Prime Minister Nehru at the time of India. So we've had a long-standing anti-war movement, right from the non-aligned movement. And our generation wants to continue.
Every March 22nd is World Water Day, set aside by the United Nations to highlight the importance of fresh water. The day is used to advocate for the sustainable management of freshwater resources, focusing on topics relevant to clean water, sanitation and hygiene, WASH, which is in line with the targets of Sustainable Development Goal 6. The theme for World Water Day 2025 is Glacier Preservation, focusing on the critical role of glaciers in sustaining life and the water cycle, and also highlighting the challenges of the melting glaciers and the need for action. Earlier this month, UN member states and stakeholders from around the world gathered for the first organization session meeting ahead of the 2026 UN Water Conference scheduled to hold in the UAE. The conference is expected to reinforce global commitments to clean water and sanitation for all, fostering innovative solutions, partnerships, and investments. Well, joining us now for more on this is Dr. Ero Ibafidon, the founder CEO of Water Light Save Initiative. He joins us from New York. Thank you for your time on Network Africa.
Thank you, Larry, for having me.
Well, World Water Day serves as a constant reminder of the significance of this vital resource, water. But what makes water worthy of a dedicated day? And, how can we raise awareness about its importance?
Thank you for that. The World Water Day is essential and is a day set aside for people to get to understand the importance of water globally, and it's also a day to spread the awareness of water preservations and how what people should do in conflict infested areas like in Africa, actually pioneering initiatives that could help safeguard and protect water globally.
Now, despite being essential for human survival, it's unfortunate millions of people, particularly in Africa, the remote areas, lack access to clean water. I mean, the continent is facing significant challenges with many lacking access to water services and sanitation. And you can also, attest to climate change exacerbating water scarcity. Now, you were at the UN organizational session meeting ahead of the water conference earlier this month. What are the initiatives and solutions that can be implemented to address this pressing issue and ensure equitable access to this fundamental human right?
Thank you for that. At the UN organizational section, we were able to come up with various initiatives that could help champion global water scarcities globally. And one of the things I mentioned was actually having a security fund for water innovation for mostly underserved communities in Africa. And also another initiative was also to hold nations accountable for water funds and security as well, because a lot of funds have gone into some countries and yet it's not used for the right purpose. So that conference actually helped align and thoroughly get people to understand and actually make people know what needs to be done in their own areas, in their communities, as a government, in your country, what you need to put in place. And some initiative also aligned there was actually the partnership, public private partnership, whereby you get partnership is very important, because when we get to partner with each other as a nation, as an individual, as an organization, we'll get to achieve that goal which we are designed to achieve, whereby water security. Because the anticipation for the water scarcity is that in years from now, people will be finding it difficult to get access to clean water. Is something that have been projected, just like the same way they projected the climate change. Now people are beginning to see the climate action take place, and a lot of rivers are being dried up because of climate, and a lot of things are happening globally because of climate. So some of these things we need to create awareness ahead of time, and also mention the need to educate communities on the safe use of water in their various communities, so that they will understand the need for these and how they could actually have to safeguard their water. Back in the days, during the rainy season, we used to save water in an overhead tank for the rainy day during dry season when there is no rain. But all those things have gone, because now we are bringing different initiatives to actually get safe drinking water. And another thing I mentioned was the solar-powered borehole system, because that actually helps in most of these unreached communities, because some communities that do not even have access to steady power supply cannot even get access to safe drinking water. So when we're using the solar-powered borehole system, that will actually help in order for them to get water at every given time without the interruption of power supplies and all of that. So various initiatives came up, and trust me, those things are even online at the United Nations website now, ahead of the 2026 conference.
All right, then. On the other hand, excessive water can be devastating, leading to flooding, hurricanes, and storms that threaten humanity. And, the UN is even highlighting the melting glaciers and is calling for their preservation. But how can we strike a balance between harnessing the benefits of water and also mitigating its destructive potential?
That is one of the reasons for this World Water Day, Lyle, because The reason for that is actually to create awareness and educate communities on how situations like this could be handled on a global scale, and also to understand the need that, okay, like getting clean water, those water you call this thing is just safeguarding your erosions and your drainage system properly. You can handle that part, but getting safe drinking water has become a major crisis globally, not only in Africa. We are only talking about Africa, but even in the United States as well, they do not have access to clean water. That is why you see a lot of people buying bottled waters and also trying to get purified water systems in their houses, because you can't just go into every home to get water to drink. It's not as possible as it's not possible. So safe drinking water is important globally, and the United Nations have understand the fact that years from now, people will not even be having access to even the bottled water they buy, because there'll be a lot of piracy and all of that. So the need for us to get it right early now is more like a proactive measure towards getting safe drinking water across to the world globally, not only to Africa, but globally. Even in the UAE, in London, everywhere in the world, the reason why people drink bottled water, because they feel that is the safest water for them to drink. We want a situation whereby you can get into a home, get a cup, and go to the tap, get water and drink it, and know that you are drinking safe drinking water. In Qatar, there are purified water systems, mostly in mosques, in schools, whereby you can just take your bottle to any mosque and open their tap and drink and get water from there and drink. That is because those water has been purified. We want a situation whereby those purification systems can spread across not only in those Middle East or in these developed countries, but also in other served communities across Africa and other Asian countries and in the North Americas and so forth and so on. So that is the essence for this awareness. And we're hoping that by tomorrow, more organizations, like today, we're actually having a campaign here in the US about World Water Day. And tomorrow, more organizations will be joining the campaigns as well.
Right.
And they'll be able to spread the news across for people to actually learn how to safeguard the water, because water is life.
Indeed.
And without life, there will be no world.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Ero Ibafidon, founder, CEO, Water Life Save Initiative. Thank you for speaking to us on the program.
Thank you, Larry, for having me today.
Well, let's take a break now on Network Africa. Still to come. Commonwealth youths push artificial intelligence agenda forward. That's on our Africa Tech segment. Please join us again for more details. Welcome back to the program. South Africa says it remains committed to its energy transition and emissions reduction goals despite funding challenges from international partners. That's according to the Director General of Mineral Resources and Energy, Jacob Mbele, who spoke on the sidelines of the 4th annual Southern Africa Oil and Gas Conference. Mr. Mbele emphasized that the DMRE Minister, Gwede Mantashe, will be traveling to Nigeria to explore collaboration opportunities in the oil and gas sector. He also highlighted ongoing efforts to ensure petroleum exploration and development align with South Africa's sustainability, energy security, and economic growth objectives. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, has more in this report.
As the 4th annual South African Oil and Gas Conference 2025 comes to a close, leaders have emphasized the urgent need to develop critical infrastructure such as pipelines, refineries, and LNG facilities to strengthen regional energy security and competitiveness. Jacob Mbele is South Africa's Director General of Mineral Resources and Energy.
You would understand that South Africa is a signatory to the Paris Agreement, and what we have committed to is to reduce emissions over a period of time, over a number of years. Our energy plans in the country follow that trajectory.
He emphasized that the DMRE Minister Gwede Mantashe will travel to Nigeria to explore collaboration opportunities in the oil and gas sector.
We as a South Africa, we always open to working with everyone on the continent. And by the way, yes, we are working with Nigeria. I know that the minister and some of my officials will be going to Nigeria very soon to go and discuss issues related to oil and gas and how we can work together in this regard.
I spoke with Dex Driver, CEO of Energy Chamber of Trinidad Tobago, and started by asking him this. You gave an example of Nigeria and the issues around regulatory uncertainty, policy gaps, does really slow down projects, and as a result, it does frustrate investors. What sort of policies do you think can be implemented on the African continent by governments to make sure that policies are not difficult for entrepreneurs and investors?
So I think you have this sort of dual challenge. You have to think long term. You have to think about, particularly the gas industry is a long term industry. Investment takes place over a long period of time, and you have to have long contracts in place.
Dr. Kolisa Yolasinyanya says the sector must fast track exploration and development while ensuring compliance with environmental regulations.
We have a conundrum in our hands that we need to solve. And this is why stakeholders, all stakeholders, need to come together and decide what types of frameworks, legal ways of doing things are going to be conducive for everybody.
As South Africa navigates its energy transition, partnerships and infrastructure development will be key to securing a sustainable and competitive future for the oil and gas sector. From Cape Town, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
A Kenyan police officer, Samuel Kaitua, who was killed while serving on a peacekeeping mission in Haiti, has been laid to rest at his family home in Naserian, Kajiado County. The solemn ceremony was attended by notable leaders, including the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and the Democratic Action Party leader Eugene Wawauma, among other dignitaries, friends and colleagues who came to pay their final respects. His family paid tribute to him as a vibrant young man with great ambitions. They expressed hope that some of his dreams, as outlined in his eulogy, would be realized with the support of the government and those who were close to him. The officer lost his life while participating in a peacekeeping operation in Haiti after being attacked by armed gangs. The multinational security support mission, which Kenya leads, confirmed his death in late February, stating that a Kenyan officer had succumbed to his injuries that he sustained during an operation. Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. As artificial intelligence continues to reshape industries and economies, young people are being encouraged to embrace AI as a vital tool for enhancing creativity, innovation, and economic growth. This was the central theme at this year's Commonwealth Day celebration, which focused on AI, youth, and the future of work.
To do all these three things. Number one, education, AI education.
As technology evolves, the ability to understand and leverage artificial intelligence is becoming an essential skill for everyone.
Of the EU AI Act really soon.
But beyond the hype, the real question is, how do young people actively prepare for this future? That was the focus of this year's Commonwealth Day celebration at the University of Lagos, where students, industry leaders and policymakers gathered to discuss AI, youth, and the future of work.
Artificial intelligence is not a trend. It is the foundation of the future. It is transforming sectors from finance to healthcare, from agriculture to creative industries. It is eliminating outdated job roles while creating new ones. And it is demanding that we rethink education, skills, and workforce readiness. But here's the truth. AI will not replace people. People who understand AI will replace who don't. Through the Commonwealth AI Academy, young people across the Commonwealth, including you in this room today, would have the opportunity to access fully funded AI education and skill training and digital skill training. This initiative is a game changer. It means that AI education is no longer a privilege, it is a right available to you.
But understanding AI isn't just about learning how it works. It's about using it responsibly.
Where do we go from here? We can start by exploring existing AI tools that have been mentioned in this room, conducting research to understand how they function and how they impact different sectors. The fundamental knowledge would always allow us to engage critically with AI developers and advocate for responsible usage. We must invest in digital literacy, ensuring that young people understand not just how it works, but how it can work responsibly. We must push for responsible AI policies, holding tech companies accountable for ethical practices. We must foster AI innovation to prioritize humanity, startups, projects, and research that ensure AI benefits all and not just a few.
Africa has some of the brightest minds in tech and innovation, but without AI education and proper mentorship, many may be left behind. So how do we ensure young people are not just consumers of AI, but active participants in shaping its future?
Will you live there inspired or unchanged? Will you watch the world move forward and tell yourself, AI isn't for me? Or will you make today a moment you take action? Because let me tell you this, the future isn't waiting for anyone. The Commonwealth AI Academy isn't just another program, it's a golden ticket. A fully funded opportunity to gain skills that will redefine the future of work. And guess what? It is available for you. It is available to you right now. You need to take action.
Together we thrive is not just a catchy phrase, it's a blueprint for the future. The world is changing, and at a speed we have never seen before. And in this age of artificial intelligence, young people cannot afford to be left behind. And that is why the Commonwealth actually launched the AI Academy, and it is to ensure that young people are not just consumers of AI, they are creators, they are innovators, and they are decision makers in that space.
Young people are embracing AI, not just as a tool, but as a pathway to opportunities, inclusion, and across the Commonwealth, over 300 youth-led events are pushing the agenda forward, ensuring young people are not just users of AI, but innovators, creators, and decision makers.
And that's it on the program for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Have a lovely weekend.